Well, I'll tell you, there is an option. Like I discussed it with you guys maybe a year and a half about skipping Twitch and going to YouTube, because YouTube ain't going anywhere anytime soon, ever.
Probably. I don't know. I wouldn't say never for any of these services. They're all propped up with a bunch of advertising money is going to start disappearing as people move to just asking their AI assistant for answers to things. People are going to stop searching.
Oh. Well, I've got the most amazing ad blocker on the planet on my browser now, so I don't see ads on anything anymore. I love it.
So you're the problem.
Yeah, I'm the one consumer. It's causing them millions of 1/10 of a penny and
just hoarding your eyeballs and keeping them to yourself. How dare you? The rest of us need that ad revenue to keep the internet free.
I remember reading a couple of years ago, they were talking about having, if you have a camera, that they were going to turn the camera on during commercials to keep an eye on your eyes to make sure you're watching. Like you can't turn your head away, or else it stops the video ad.
Yeah.
Screw that. They come here to. Anyway, how y'all been?
I've been better.
Me too.
Started the year off strong with a shingles diagnosis.
Oh, that's right. You were talking about that last week.
Yeah, still waiting my way through the tail end of it. It's definitely waning, but it still persists.
That's kind of an old man thing. Are you older than you look?
No. Well, I don't think so.
Betty feels older now.
Yeah. No, I by all accounts, I did get it kind of early, but it's not unheard of for folks younger. I am an outlier with regards to the diagnosis for sure because of my age. But yeah, it sucks. It's the worst. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced, pain wise and persistence wise. And I've been told since contracting it that it tends to skip generations. And my dad's dad used to get shingles like fairly regularly, like he's had it multiple times. And I was like, my brother, right. That's not what I needed to hear right now.
Yeah.
Nope.
Did you get it on your sides and back, or
no? Usually on the top, on the rooftop.
No, I got it under left pack and then up around to the basically underneath the shoulder blade on the same side.
Yeah. Some people get it in their mouth, the back of their throat. You can get it there. Could you imagine? Like, no eating while you're no.
Yeah. I heard you can get it, like, if you get it on your face, it can actually cause significant damage to eyes.
Yep.
And
eyes.
Cause them to go blind or possibly needed to be removed. I was like, oh, that sounds awful. Maybe I don't have it so bad.
Yeah.
No thanks. No. Pass. Where's the checkbox on the form to not have that version?
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Never been on worse. That's for sure.
But every day saw a little bit of improvement. I was telling Mike Prime before we started recording, or before you guys hopped in, that the 2 nights ago was the first full night of sleep that I've had in 2024.
Yep.
Every other night has been extremely punctuated.
Oh, we've been doing this for 15 days. That's a long time.
Yeah. Brother, the shingles ain't no joke. There's no, because it attacks the nerves directly. There's no like shifting your body into a position that lessens. I mean, it lessens it in the sense that you might not be adding any pressure to the nerves.
Did they give you gabapentin or anything like that for it?
I got some sort of antiviral that I can't recall the name of, and then I got 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and some tramadol, I think was the name of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gabapentin is the way to go.
So and then go ahead.
You go.
I was just gonna say the doctor was just like, I mean, when you run out of drugs, don't come back because it's just gonna do its thing. It's like, oh great, so this is just to get me out the door, and
this is my life now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I can beat that, but since we last played, I've had 3 flat tires, 2 engine lights, a car accident, and an infinite desire to sell every car that I own.
It's the last line that I'm laughing at, not the ones that preceded it.
Yeah. We're laughing because you are.
I have to laugh because otherwise I'll take a baseball bat out to my garage. Reenact my favorite Street Fighter scenes.
What kind of car do you have?
Or used to have?
I've got there's 4 cars that live in my driveway, and none of them are currently drivable. So I've got a Nissan Murano, a Holden Barina, a Toyota Tarago, and a Toyota Corolla.
I recognize the Corolla. I don't recognize the other ones. I'm not much of a car guy, though.
I'm sure you'll have them, but they'll have different names probably.
Yeah, Holden used to be a Pontiac, I think.
You said that was the only one I didn't recognize.
Similar, yeah.
Holden's one of the big Australian brands. Pretty sure it's an Australian brand of car. Holden and Ford is the other big one that we tend to have. When I killed that conversation, next. I'm like, oh no, I started a conversation about cars, a topic about which I know nothing.
Yeah, same. I got nothing. I know where gas and key goes. I can't even change the oil. I think I have an idea how to do it, but I don't want to.
Don't get those confused.
Nope. I know a fair amount about cars, but yeah, it's been a while since I've worked on them professionally.
How about unprofessional?
I was going to say, you used to assemble or disassemble, or first one then the other, or it was a...
Yes, first one then the other. Yes, first I would disassemble, then reassemble. Johnny Five. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, disassemble.
I most recently just did a simple oil change on my wife's car. But yeah, that's I need to. So my advice about cars is never buy one from a mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now I can list the things that are wrong with my car that I have not fixed that I can live with.
So, don't buy a house from an electrician or a plumber or a tiler.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can tell you if I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my car, neither one of the windows I can use neither one of the windows. One of the tail lights is out. The check engine light is on because the evaporative emissions pump is messed up. The right rear tire is probably flat right now. Let's see, what's the other thing that's really annoying about my car?
Flat tires are pretty annoying, yeah.
Yeah. It only goes flat about every 4 days, though. This is why it's a slow leak.
I've got to the point where, like, I work from home. There's a shop a block away. If anybody needs to see me, they can come here. I'm not going anywhere anymore. I'm available on the internet. These are my office hours.
You've got my phone number. You can reach me, right?
I don't think this travel thing is gonna kick off.
Yeah.
Cheaper to feed a horse at this point and just ride that around.
You would think that, but I grew up with horses.
That to a horse.
I grew up with horses, and I had to feed them and clean up after them. And at least with a car, you don't have to shovel its stuff out of the stall.
Well, you'd imagine. I have a car that would claim otherwise.
Oh, my whole computer just went black for a second. It's better.
Welcome back.
It got better.
Welcome to 2024.
Where all the things are breaking.
The 5th year of 2020.
2020 Part 5. Oh no.
It's weird to think that the Y2K stuff was as long ago as it is or was.
Y2K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just that whole panic. And then I saw this stat the other day that like the Green Bay Packers have like a dozen or more people on their roster that were born in the year 2000 or later.
Oh, sure. 23, 24, that's prime age, right? It's crazy, though.
It's still like, even when I'm watching college football, I'm still like, these are children. Like this is like 18 to 21, 23, unless you're, some of
Now
these
we-
guys that hang around forever, like
now we know
Stafford.
why you got shingles.
Yeah.
Well, whippersnapper, you're 24.
But I'm looking at them and I'm like, these are like grown men and they're children. Like I don't know. I still watch them thinking that these are like adults on the field, and they are, like, as far as like legality is concerned and all that. But relative to me, they're not anymore. And I don't know exactly like when that transition took root in my mind, but it does color me watching those sports now. Like
It does.
Now it's like I'm older than everybody on that field and probably a bunch of people that are on the coaching staff now. So
It always gets me when I'm watching college football. I'm like, some of these kids may actually be 17 years old, and they're jacked, and they're running 40 yards in like 4.5 seconds, and they're just beating the shit out of each other like constantly. And I guess you have to be 17 to be able to do that and still be able to walk the next day. Because right now, if I stepped on a high school football game, put on pads, I wouldn't be able to move for a week.
Yep.
So that's coaching.
I'll tell you that the moment I became old is when I injured my back destacking a dishwasher. I'm like, nope, that's it. That's it. I'm out now.
No matter how
But now-
old you are, your first real back injury makes you an old man or woman immediately. Because it just, that's it.
Before the rash started showing up, that's exactly what I thought had happened, was that I had pulled a muscle doing what I could not put a finger on. Like, I was like, I just pulled a muscle accidentally and without my knowledge, and that's why I'm in pain. And then once the rash started showing, like, I was like, I guess, maybe that's better than me just incidentally hurting myself. But then it was an old person's disease.
Great.
I also found out that, like, not too long after I was a kid, they came out with the vaccine for chickenpox came out like the mid 90s. And so before it hit was when my mom, like, I told Mom she's to blame for all this. I was like, you bear primary fault in all of this, because I remember you making me go spend the night with that kid Justin when he had chickenpox so that I could get it. And now I've got that. Now I've got that disease in me forever because of that decision.
Thanks, Mom.
I think I was in 7th or 8th grade when I only got chickenpox. And I had it it was bad, man. Like, I was out of school, obviously, but it wasn't just a rash. Like, I was just sick, like fatigue and malaise and all this stuff. Just, I couldn't get out of bed. I never really knew that chickenpox had that kind of effect.
Yeah,
Obviously,
don't see around.
apparently. Yeah.
I was pretty young. I was in 1st grade, and I did not have a bad case of it. But I remember I had one super itchy one. I think it was like on the inside of my nose.
Oh, God.
It was but I cannot complain about it because my brother was covered from the crown of his head to the bottom of his feet.
Yikes.
Yeah, they would just, I don't remember if it was like chamomile or something like that. They would just, painted
Calamine.
Calamine. Yeah, they could have just gotten a paint roller and just rolled him with it.
Herbal.
It wouldn't have helped. Yeah, it wouldn't
Earl
have helped.
Grey.
So, oh, we have a bot.
Hey.
Wait, I want to hear what
We
he
made
has
it.
to say.
Certified Leaf 2.
Yep.
Free promotion.
Free promotion. Yay.
I don't believe you.
I don't
Anyway,
believe you
the
either.
price is lower than any competitor, so not free.
Yeah.
But low. Let me check our budget. It's 0.
Yeah. So sorry.
Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll throw you in the raid when we get done.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Are the 3 of you guys also watching on Twitch?
I am.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're-
just us. It's just us tonight.
Yeah.
I think everybody's lost faith because it's been so long. We're like, yeah, we're recording. Then an hour before, no, I'm working. We can't record.
Well, I'll throw one in, Atkins, to make you feel slightly less old. You said you were a little young to be getting shingles. I went to the clinic on campus at college when I was 20 or 21, and I was, because my foot was hurting, and they diagnosed me with gout.
Gout.
And every doctor I've seen for it since said, "So how long have you had it? Is it just something that started?" It's like, nope, I've had it for decades now. And every, like, my primary care doctor, when I told him that's what I had, it's like, you're probably the youngest person I've ever heard of to have gout. I went to a podiatrist. So somebody recommended, because the pain was so bad at one point. I was like, I can't work. When I was working on cars, I was on my feet all day. And they said, he's like, I've got a guy. He's like, you got to go to this guy, tell him, that you've got gout. He'll get you in immediately, and you'll be gone in 20 minutes, and you'll feel much better. I was like, this sounds questionable, but
tell him Maurice.
Yeah, tell him Maurice sent you. Yeah, she's like, take care of you. And I went in, and this guy, I mean, it was kind of like that. It was kind of like his collar, like he had like 4 buttons undone on his shirt, gold chain.
Oh
yeah, and he's like, hey, what can I do for you? And I was like, I have gout. He's like, wow, you're pretty young to have gout. And
the gout.
Yeah, the gout.
I have the gout. Yeah,
but he gave me, instead of, I think it's like cortisone. That's kind of the normal, like, pinpoint injection of a painkiller or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He
said that the insurance company would pay 10 cents or 50 cents for cortisone, and he's like, and then he pulls out the needle and he puts it in the thing and he draws it out. It's like, but whatever this is, and he flicks the needle a couple times. He's like, they'll pay about $2 for it. He's like, so this will fix you right up.
Whatever this is.
Yeah, I was like, what is it? He's like, don't worry about it.
I found it in the lab.
Yeah, I found a vial of it under the bucket that we keep in the bathroom. But no, he would.
I take from last patient. These work good.
Exactly. But man, he would. I went to see him, I don't know, 2 or 3 times over the course of a couple of years, and I just call him. It's like, hey, doc, I'm on the way. I've got a gout attack, and I need to get back on my feet. And he's like, all right, come on in. I'd walk in, and it's a podiatrist office, right? So every single person in there is a senior citizen, and it was just I'm easily the youngest person in the office, and I'm hobbling in on either on crutches or something, and then I walk out. Yeah.
You should just walk through the waiting room going like, this guy's good. You're in the right place.
Like, you guys are in good hands. Hold the goal. It's good. Yeah.
What you don't know is that all those people are in their 40s, and it's whatever he's injecting you with is just taking years off your life.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened to me. But yeah.
You may want to consider nephrologists in the future. They're really well known for treating gout.
I haven't had a gout attack in probably 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Because I sit for a living now. So
I have had, so I will look that up. My son wanted prawns over Christmas, and so we bought a packet of prawns. And I if I look at a prawn, I'll get a gout attack. Like, it is really bad. And
Right.
they were just sitting in our fridge, and nobody else was eating them. So, like, I snuck a couple, and I think I ate 3. And by the next morning, I could tell. It was like, oh no.
Oh no!
I can't sneak another one. Yeah, I can't sneak another one because I will have a gout attack. Like, I could feel right on the verge of it. I'm like, dang it.
Well, there's 2
like,
drugs.
There's been a food I don't like.
Colchicine and allopurinol, but let's just treat the symptoms. There you go.
I have about 6 months worth of allopurinol in the kitchen.
Yep. I have both.
Yeah, I used to do drug research for
medical talk.
Yeah, it really has. It's medical talk with BPN. I used to work for a nephrologist that did drug research, and 3 of the main besides kidney specific nephrology, There were people that had anemia, there were people that had gout, and there were people that blood pressure, because the kidney controls all that stuff. If your kidneys are down, you're not clearing all the stuff that causes all these bad things to happen. So that's where I learned the most about gout. We did a couple of drug research projects on this new gout medicine. It's probably still going through FDA. But well, anyway,
I actually participated in a gout research study, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
they gave me.
If it was double blind, I wonder if Matt ever looked at your results.
It was double blind. I made it through 2 years of the study, and then they double blind, and then I think it was single blind, and then I think it was like, now how much do we give you? But I went through 2 years of it, and I was paid to take this new medicine for it, and it was fantastic. And I didn't have a flare for 2 years.
I really enjoy doing drug research. I'm probably gonna get back into that when I start working for real.
I go see if I can do some research tonight.
Yeah, no, won't be nephrology, but
well, it's kidney related.
It's kidney related.
It'll end up going through the kidneys.
Yeah, through the kidneys at least, right?
I had COVID and strep about 11 days ago, and I'm still kicking the crap out in my lungs. Lost my voice for about 3 days.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. Without Rachel here, we just turn into like 4 white guys complain. I'm like, my body's old.
Specifically about their bodies, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Please come back. Come back, Rachel. Save us.
Shingle, gout, and COVID, flu. What else are we going to talk about?
I'm not complaining about gout. I haven't had, like I said, I'm thankful that I haven't had a. Yeah, exactly. Knock on. Yeah.
So it's just us. I don't even feel like I need to talk to the audience. But Rachel couldn't make it tonight. Something came up. I don't think it's an emergency. Just couldn't make it. So I think we're just going to do, because it's been 4 or 5 weeks since we recorded, and I don't really want to get too far into the next section without Rachel being here. So let's do a nice, semi-thorough recap.
What is happening to you, Jamie?
I opened my notes, and it's very light. It's very bright. I'm trying to figure out how to get
see
dark mode.
Dark mode
to
in
dark
OneNote.
mode.
Yes.
I don't know how to get Google Drive in dark mode.
I don't either. I don't use it.
I don't know. Turn down the brightness on your monitor.
Yeah, but then I won't be able to see anything.
I'm telling you, dark mode is the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Yeah,
It's just great.
know.
I love it. Everything I have.
Save on pixels. Keep that
Yeah,
electricity bill down.
And your eyeballs too, like having that bright glare.
Mhm.
Like
That-
even
that.
my. Let's see. That's a movie.
Said a moment
But yeah,
ago. Basking in the glow of his notes.
Just opens it up and like.
Back.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put it on a smaller screen. Hold on. Hey, work is closed tomorrow. Yay.
Does that work like,
For everybody?
don't you work from home?
Shush.
Does that mean, okay.
It's closed for on-site operations. I've still got to work, yes.
I think that's a nice thing about being able to work abroad from home.
Remote.
I work abroad. Nobody take that out of context.
I was waiting for the follow-up. I didn't know.
Clip it.
Yeah, so let's do just a recap, kind of the story as we've told it so far, because we are at this point, 3 years in? Has it been 3 years? 2.5 years? It was January, right? January of 21?
January 2021.
So we're right at 3 years. That's unbelievable.
Hey, happy
We're
anniversary.
halfway through it. And then granted, we've had like months off here and skip weeks there and blah, blah, blah. But like, we're exactly halfway through this campaign. And just like almost everything Paizo and D&D, everything major long stories, it's about to take a 90-degree right turn and be nothing like anything that you've done up until this point.
Oh, good.
They all do that. All the adventure paths, usually not halfway through. It's usually by Well, yeah, by like book 3, you get to find out what the real story is. You guys have an idea, though. I mean, you've heard the names, you've heard the powers, you've got all the players. Now you just got to figure out who's doing what, how the pieces fit together, and that's what's going to start happening now. So the story is now beginning. But,
Hooray! Prologue over.
Yeah, exactly. A 6-book prologue.
We've gone through the tutorial.
I beat the tutorial.
We should be good at
Yay.
this by now.
It's funny. I'm watching this guy, YouTube guy, who's playing Monster Killer, Beast
Monster
Slayer?
Hunter?
Monster Hunter, and like the tutorial was hours and hours and hours long. And he was laughing. He's like, "Hey, I just beat the tutorial. Now I can start playing the game." Anyway, I've never played. I have played. I think it don't matter. So, where we did start was everybody gathered in Cauldron. This is book 1. And let's hear it from y'all's point of view. And if you get stuck or slowed down, I'll throw in pieces because I've got the adventure in front of me, kind of.
I'm just gonna chillax until we catch up to where I step in, I guess.
Well, you've listened to the podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
that didn't work.
that's
Do you
fair.
want us to, given that we've now revealed a little bit of backstory, do you want us to go back before the first episode a little bit and give a bit of that background?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to talk about your backstory, go for it.
Yeah, so it did come up in the last episode. Adkins and I had a good scene together, and so Tarathiel ran away from home as a kid and went to a human city and fell in love with a human woman, and they were married and they had a kid. And then some guy showed up, framed Tarathiel for a murder, and then tried to take his kid. And Tarathiel ended up escaping. His wife died in the conflict, and he ran off with the child. I'm not sure if it was clear in that discussion that we had, but that was a good 16 years ago. So Tarathiel was on the run for quite some time with a young child in tow, living off whatever he was able to get, and more or less developing his skills as a rogue and a thief, because that was the only way he could get by, because he didn't want to be obvious anywhere, because he didn't know if this being was still after them. Eventually, his daughter grows up. They have an argument, and she disappears in the night. She runs off, and Tarathiel, despondent, goes looking for her and ends up in Cauldron, because everyone ends up in Cauldron. I actually have that in my notes from, I think, episode 2. Everything ends up in Cauldron. But he's only there for a couple of days, kind of running a grifting scam before the local thieves guild, the Last Laugh, come and grab a hold of him. They demand payment because he is doing bad things in the city. And they take one of his fingers, his pinky, so getting into character slowly. They take one of his fingers, and he manages to escape and goes to what's the name of the pub that we all end up at?
Drunken Morkoff?
The Drunken Morkoff. He ends up at the Drunken Morkoff and gets a room there, but he's looking for a group of adventurers because he doesn't feel safe on the streets on his own.
Safety in numbers.
That's how Tarathiel comes into it. Jamie, do you want to give some background on Farazan?
So, Farazan grew up in the mountains in the northwestern part of Greyhawk, I think is what I've kind of put together in my head. There's I was reading, trying to figure out where a fun place for him to have been from, and I found a section of Greyhawk that has some interesting story. I think there's actually an adventure based through there, but because I didn't write it down, I don't remember what the fun thing was that they did that kicked off that adventure. I'll go back and find it one of these days. But he was the son of the chief, Arok. E-R-R-O-K is what I have in my notes, actually. I just looked it up because I couldn't remember his father's name. But at some point in his in the life of a Goliath, they usually go off on some adventure, go off to make a name for themselves. They go off to prove their worthiness as a warrior, as a member of their society or whatever. And so, as he's getting old enough for that to become a thing, I don't remember if it was his father or it was the shaman that said that he needed to go off and learn how to defend his tribe. I believe there was a imminent threat, and so he was sent off to. I think the find wisdom was the kind of the running thing that kind of stuck in his head, but he was. There's
like kung fu, man.
Just walk around the world. Kung fu, and he ends up at a monastery at the base of Cauldron Mountain, and he walks in. I'm searching for enlightenment. I'm searching for wisdom, and they tell him, it's in the ring, and go face your challenge. And he walks in, barehanded and gets
Which is such a troll move. Like, it's in the ring, buddy. Step inside, get your ass whooped.
Yeah. Like, your enlightenment lies within, in the squared circle over there. And so after getting his enlightenment handed to him, he reaches over and pulls a somewhat young tree out and clobbers the dude with it, and adopts this long staff, that we've called it, as his primary weapon. And his first lesson is now, there are no rules when defending yourself. It's do what you have to do, or something like that, I think is what it was. So and the reason for the monastery was, I originally thought that Farazan was going to be a monk, and I looked at it and I thought, I think we were actually watching through Avatar: The Last Airbender at the time, and I thought that is it 4 elements, 4 winds, 4 corners? I don't know.
It was the Temple of the Four Winds was the temple you were at, according to my notes.
No, I don't. There's the monk subclass.
There's a subclass of monk.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. It was so bad. I think Matt even tried to talk me out of it when I said, "Hey, I think I want to play monk." He's like,
"You play what you want, but it's a trash class."
It's like, you're gonna die.
Spectro resembles that remark.
It's going to be 6 years.
So switched over to he took that training that Farazan was under and applied it tactically. So instead of fighting with his hands, he is now a battle master, fighting with his strong brain. Yeah, stick brain. But he eventually learned his ways there and headed up the mountain. I don't remember if he was sent there as this is where your wisdom is, you can find your wisdom, or the next leg of your journey is up there and go up there. But
so the Grand Master said, go to the top of this, go to the city, because it's where the 4 elements meet. You've got fire, you've got earth, you've got water in the cauldron, and you've got air.
That's right.
So this is where the 4 elements meet. And so you'll find what you're looking for there.
Yeah. And he ended up at the Drunken Morkoff, and that's where we met.
And then Khaldun. Khaldun was the not tiefling.
Githyanki?
Yes, Githyanki. Abjure wizard who escaped from the abyss, I think, because he was on a raiding party and decided, he had a vision. And the vision was showing him that everything that he was led to believe in his society was a lie. So he got away, escaped, got out of the Underdark, and found his way to Cauldron. Nutshell. Then you've got Alma. Jeez, I was just thinking Rachel. Alma, who came from a nice, happy village with a druidic village. She was a priest of Baori, and they were a druid. Baori's like the world god or the earth god, and her druidic father, adopted father, said that she'd learned as much as she could and that she should go find something, go adventure and learn more elsewhere. And so she did. That leads us to y'all being in the Drunken Morkoth and hearing a cry out from a priest who's being attacked.
Rufus.
And he was the assistant to Jinya, who was the second in charge at the St. Cuthbert Cathedral.
The assistant to the district manager.
Yes.
Yes.
Which led you to what adventure?
Down into Jadaroon, ultimately. So we were investigating the kidnapping of some orphans at
Yep.
is it Lantern Street
The-
Orphanage?
Yep, Lantern Street
Something.
Orphanage.
That sounds right.
That's right.
It's been a while. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah.
And as part of that investigation, we ended up talking to a locksmith who went by the name of
Gelf.
crud.
Gelf, yeah.
Gelf. Yep, Keegan Gelf.
Keegan Gelf. Yep.
Yes. So we went to Keegan Gelf's locksmithing and were attacked by some invisible creatures, and that led us ultimately into an underground city, an old gnomish city called Jadaroon, which sucks. It's a blender. It's a blender.
Yeah.
It's a blender made of locks. So we found ourselves down there combating a bunch of traps and locks and all kinds of nasty stuff. But it turns out that even that city was, although it was abandoned by the gnomes, was built on top of an even older city, a dwarven city, the Malachite Fortress.
Yep.
I'm skipping through a bunch of stuff because I don't know how much of this is relevant.
No, just highlights.
We did
during this adventure.
We
lost another finger.
Yes.
We did meet an important NPC in Jadaroon that likes to eat
Oh,
copper.
Yeah, Boxy.
Boxy.
Boxy the Mimic.
This is my son, brother, Twerp.
Who is Twerp and Meep, right? Do we have Meep as well?
And Meep is the third one.
And we learned that Boxy's brother is a real asshole, so we were on the lookout for such a thing on the way down. Outside the Malachite Fortress, I remember fighting a really awful chain thing that beat up Fezan a fair amount.
The chain thing.
Yeah, it was like a
fun,
and you got a piece of it and you wrapped it on your.
It was a call. It was a column. Didn't it look like it was like hidden as a column or something like that? Yeah.
Yep.
I want to say that was a chain golem, or either that or a chain elemental. I forgot which one it was.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
It was nasty. It had reach, and it had multiple attacks, and I think I think that's what gave you the first achievement unlock, Bonehead, which gave you a +1 permanent hit point because you fell 3 times in one combat.
It was either that one or the invisible like skulk things. That there was two. I remember there was a room with like 5 invisible skulks, and Farazan was standing in the pinch point, and he got knocked down more than is necessary for
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
But yeah,
there was a poo room. We did fight Boxy's asshole brother. I remember that.
And there's a door to the Underdark down there.
Yes, which we never opened.
Yes, wisely. Which actually later came into play 3 books later.
Yep. Yeah. And so I think Keegan ended up getting arrested or banished.
Banished
Yeah,
from the city for assisting in the kidnapping of children.
Yeah. And we did rescue the children, although as part of that rescue, a beholder showed up, took one of the children, and disappeared.
Yep.
But the very next day, a mysterious woman dropped off that child at the orphanage. Yeah, which we all weren't present for, but we suspect was a beholder with chicken arms.
Yeah.
On each stalk.
Yeah,
with a wig on each eye stalk. Yeah, I think that's what you just said, Matt.
Yep.
That led to the discussion of if a beholder wears a hat of disguise, does it wear like this or like this?
Yeah, like a centaur wearing pants, or or a jacket or something.
Or an alien, a xenomorph wearing a cap.
Yeah. So that
But
was
yeah, we
the wrap
discovered
up of book one.
we discovered an underground ring of slave trafficking,
Mhm.
and managed to put a stop to it. There was
Took it out.
what was that guy that's a half troll, half
Kazmogen.
butthole? Kazmogen. So we
Half troll, half
fought
butthole.
Kazmogen. He ended up in prison, but like it was an overnight stay. He was in and out basically. So obviously got friends in high places.
Mm-hmm.
Which was one of the first clues we had to that there was something weird going on in Cauldron as far as
Corruption.
Corruption. We, with the guards. Even at the beginning with Rufus, the three, was it
Last
last
Laugh.
laugh people
That was-
that were attacking him ended up being guardsmen.
Mm-hmm.
And Jill was also present for the Rufus fight, but she got away.
Yep.
From
She was on the roof.
another member of the Last Laugh that is a recurring foil
Pain in the ass.
for the. So the next storyline I have after that, I started putting names to these things. So this one I called Goblin Geyser.
Yeah. Because you went to the bathhouse, not
Yep.
the boathouse, the bathhouse.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
So the this is where we met Skelleran, right?
Oh,
Captain
yeah,
Lagarde?
Tertian.
Tertian Skelleran.
Yep.
That's the guard captain.
Guard captain.
The guard captain. Yeah, this is where we met him, and he asked us to look into goblin graffiti that had been showing up around the place, and said that there had been a couple of muggings and some things were not looking good, and it wasn't clear where these goblins were coming from. So we were asked to investigate that. At the same time, Jackery, who was the guard that had assisted us with the Jadarin stuff, got reassigned to somewhere patrolling between Cauldron and Sasserine, where the dragon Hooknose had been sighted. So we were concerned that somebody was basically trying to dispose of Jackery, getting him
Right.
out of the city.
Which again was giving you the idea that there's a lot of corruption there, and the quiet people who speak out against the establishment.
Yeah.
I guess.
We did notice in the graffiti, actually looking back through my notes, Drakthar showed up as a name in some of the graffiti. So Drakthar owns this, and Hail Drakthar, Lord of the Rats. It was a name that we will come across again. Yeah, we went to the boathouse and met Auric Stonehaven. Auric something.
That
I
sounds
can't remember his last name.
Yep.
He had
Auric
the,
Stonehaven.
Yeah, had the gem eye.
Yep. He was an adventurer till he took an arrow to the knee.
He didn't know nothing about no goblins.
Didn't know nothing about no goblins, so had clearly been enchanted in some way, shape, or form charmed to not know nothing about no goblins, because the goblins were coming up from below the bathhouse every night, running amok in the city. The party laid in wait for the goblins and had the longest minute of their life.
Bloodbath began.
We killed more than 30 goblins in one combat.
I think there were just shy of 50 goblins that were coming up and down. And I remember thinking, I don't know how this is going to go. I mean, there are goblins, but numbers are numbers.
It was
they just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. And just, you guys just absolutely slaughtered them. I think maybe 2 survived. You kept 2 of them alive to talk to them.
There was a bunch that were alive.
Were there?
Yeah, Fairzone was knocking them out.
Okay.
Because we ended. I think this might have been. It might have been here. Or it might have been just around here. Is when Tarathiel started to develop psychic capabilities and used his mind link to connect to the goblins that had survived, because it allows him to communicate with creatures that don't share a language with him. And that led to the fun idea of going down below to investigate what was going on in the caverns below, whilst in theory having these goblins screaming in his brain.
And which took you down to Drakthar's Way, which is a cavern. Yep.
I think we ended up finding out that Drakthar was a something.
My mascot.
Yeah.
It's a stress stress ball,
Stress pig.
stress pig in the shape of pig.
Yep. So Drakthar ended up being a newly turned vampire, and he was sending the goblins up, and
Hobgoblin vampire, right?
Hmm?
Right?
Yep.
Hobgoblin vampire?
Yeah,
He was a hobgoblin vampire.
Hobgoblin vampire. And we ended up, after we defeated him, quote unquote, the mist went down into some of
Did
the.
defeat him. I mean, you took him down to 0, which vampires
Yeah.
turn to mist and take off.
Yeah.
So you did
Mhm.
defeat the vampire.
Yeah, he missed it away.
Mhm.
And so we ended up having to go deeper into the goblin flows, the lava flows, the lava tubes. I think I've heard.
Lava tube.
Yeah, there it is. And let's see, down there we met 2 people. And I don't know, Flotsam and Jetsam. I don't know, Bert and Ernie. I don't remember their names.
Korev and Kolander.
Yeah.
And then there was also
Kalev
Caliph.
and Cholander.
And Charmander,
Yes, sure,
Yes.
why not?
who told us they were hired by. Is that when we first heard of quote
The
Blue
Blue
Duke,
Duke?
unquote?
Yep.
The Duke Azul.
Duce Azul.
Il Duce Azul. Yes.
And so they told us that Drakthar was one of them that had one of their 4 that and that he had gone missing. He went crazy or something like that, and they hadn't seen him. I don't remember exactly what happened, but
Mhm.
we ended up hearing that there was a 4th member of their group. We negotiated with them, I think, right? We didn't end up having a tiff with them, but it was
They weren't
kinda-
dumb. They didn't want to
that was-
die.
Yeah.
That was very much I'm going to go this way and you go that way, and let's hope we don't run into each other again.
Yeah. But were they
Narrator. They did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I forget. Were
To their
they
detriment,
members of
unfortunately.
some group? Did we find that out at that point, or did they end up joining something after the post?
No, they ended up joining us. But
Yeah.
no, they were working for the Blue Duke directly, as far as I know.
Okay. And then
With
that's when we ended up. I don't
Leaving.
remember.
Well, don't forget the chair. The comfy chair.
Yes.
Oh yeah. In
The
our
f-
efforts to find the Drakthar, we ended up in a cavern that had a chair of many faces.
Sharp pointy teeth.
Yeah, with sharp, pointy teeth, and it was trying to grapple someone, and pull it in and take bites of them. And I do believe that if Farazan had failed too many checks, he would have been succumbed to the death.
I think somebody got pulled into the chair.
Farazan definitely got chewed
Yeah,
upon
okay.
with the chair, which resulted in our
But-
first fan art.
Yeah, I was going to say, the chair has the honor of being our first fan art. Somebody actually drew the chair.
And that's in our Discord, which, if you're still listening and you haven't joined, you should join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Link in the description below.
So yeah, with the goblin threat neutralized, I'm trying to remember if this is where we found out about the half-orcs, or if it was when Alma came back and went back
was
down. 'Cause
Alma came back.
Yeah, that's right. Because she followed up on this while the rest of us were mucking around on the surface.
I
And it's
Yep.
funny, I'll tell you, what led up to her doing that was Rachel was asking me a lot. She's like, "That doesn't make sense. Why are they down there?" And they didn't go any further. I'm like, that would be a great vignette. Why don't you just
Mhm.
go do that? She's like, "Well, I might die." I'm like, "I'm not going to kill you in a vignette. I promise."
That was the beginning of Alma coming back and just like taking care of business.
Yeah.
Um,
So that was essentially book 2. Like, you defeated Drakthar, you eliminated all the goblins, and you took out the chair. So, yeah,
And
that
then-
was
and then the outside. Then we learned of this outside Blue Duke that was sending people into. Is that the point at which we learned that?
you hadn't. I mean, you go ahead and talk about it because we're going to talk about it. But essentially, Blue Duke hired those 4 lieutenants to facilitate bringing in these half-orcs secretly into the city so that they could take
To join
over
the
as
city guard.
guardsmen. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And there was no
There was a
real
dwarf
indication.
guy.
Yeah.
Right. That was the fourth member of the group. Was the dwarf guy bringing in the half orcs
That's correct.
from underneath the city?
Yeah, he was training them down further in those lava flows.
Yep.
Hmm.
And you found an exit from the lava flow to the surface in the jungle.
And then at some point, I think we found out that we went to one of us, maybe was it Tarathiel, that went and tried to buy the boathouse after
Yes.
Orc's
Yep.
untimely demise.
Yeah, I was specifically interested in it character-wise because it did represent a way in and out of the city. Like it was sitting on top of a secret entrance into the city. So I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to secure that for the party, but we were not able to do so.
Because Lord Valantru had already.
Because, yeah, Lord Valantru had already done it, and he was paying for our rooms at the Drunken Morkoth because of the orphan thing, but he continued to pay for our rooms after that. But we still had not met him at this point.
Right.
So I don't remember what happened in book 3, or which one was
So
book 3.
in between, though, we had a vignette. So in between, and I have
Oh.
notes for my vignette. I don't have notes for Fezans and Keldoons, or for Alma's.
Alma's was the discovery of the half orcs, I think, right? In the
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, I think she did something else as part of that as well. Like, I'm wondering if that's where we came into contact with the merchant guy that we're kind of hanging out with now. That we ended up following the chisel guy. What's his name?
Mavu.
Anywho,
Yeah.
yeah, Mavu, the guy that she ends up killing for good reasons. and
Mavu
then
didn't die.
resurrecting. No. Alma killed him when the crowd was coming in.
Oh,
She
oh,
faked
oh,
his
oh.
death.
Yeah. So that's about 2 more books away.
Yeah, that's a whiles away.
Mhm.
But yeah, in the vignette, I have that this is where Tarathiel started seriously investigating the Last Laugh and trying to put together he's putting together a conspiracy board of the Last Laugh because they're quite difficult to hunt down. I think this is where we got Jill's name. This is where we started to have notice of Jill. And I believe this is where we got invited to the Koi Nixie for the first time. Tarathiel went there to meet Maple, who was one of the slaves that we'd freed down in the Malachite Fortress.
Yep.
And she introduced him to Fario and Felion, the 2 members of the Striders of Fairlan who have showed up. And they gave us some information about the cage rights and their involvement with the Last Laugh.
And the cage rights are. Do y'all know what the cage rights are yet? I know I've been giving doses of information about them, like building. Cage rights are the one. Go ahead.
Well, they just seem to be like the people manipulating things in the background. Like everything we've been doing seems in some way connected back to the cage rights.
And I think I remember this. They have built 13 cages, and this is I don't know how far back this is.
That's
But
fine.
they built 13 cages, and they were looking for marked individuals to be put into those cages.
Correct.
Of which Tarim was one.
Which
Yes.
Tarim, which was one of the orphan that we found and that was taken away by the Beholder and returned by the woman in the
Yes.
to the orphanage. But the reason they are putting them into the cages was revealed to us later. Do we want to go ahead?
Sure.
Well, shoot. There's a realm.
They're trying to open something to the realm of Carcerai.
Carcerai.
A permanent portal to Carcerai.
Yeah.
And
Which is the realm related to prisons
it's like
or something
yeah,
like that.
It's like the prison realm.
Yeah.
And then also, kind of later on, you find out it's related to a specific demon prince, which the name I think you guys just heard maybe once or twice for the first time a couple of episodes ago. Adamarcus.
Adam, yes, because I thought it was Adam Marcus.
Yeah, the demon with 2 first names.
Yeah. Adam Marcus.
Yeah.
Adamarcus. So he,
The other name that I think has probably come up at this point is it the Order of the Ebon Triad? There is a group of 3 gods that.
yes. So
Look
the
at
Order
that
of
name,
Ebon
right?
Triad was actually in this next book, which was the flood season. Because remember, the rains were hitting,
Yes.
and the cauldron was filling up, and they needed to get this rod together so they could start drawing it out. But the high priest of St. Cuthbert, Sarcom, had gone to Sasserine to procure the formula to bring it back and create it. And he was waylaid, and the
lucky monkey.
The lucky monkey. Which
so we got
Like
a
Tongue Eater.
we got a sending
Fantastic villain that was.
tongue eater.
I will never get over the fact that you guys literally found probably one of 2 entrances into the Lucky Monkey that went straight to the boss. I mean, you just like skip straight to the boss. I'm like, that's D&D. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we went around the back of the Lucky Monkey, and we were making our way around counterclockwise, and we saw a pile of bodies being chewed upon by a group
Velociraptors.
of raptors. Yeah, and we're like, we're gonna go back the other way, and we went in through one of the windows, and
That was a good decision.
Yeah, yep, that's good.
Because I mean, obviously, if you've ever seen any of the Jurassic Parks, you know there's always like 5 or 6 in the woods, right? Because they watch and they keep an eye. Yeah, there were about half a dozen Velociraptors in that fight. If you'd chosen to partake, that'd have been a bad fight.
Yeah, but
because they move fast and bite hard.
Yeah, that was not fun in general. That whole place was kind of gross, and Sacrum had been horrifically murdered.
Yes, head chopped off, and tongue eaten.
Yeah. So we did end up recovering the formula.
Yep.
And the other things that I've got notes on for this whole arc is Tarathiel went and found Chorlinder and Kalev and Zidane and hired them to smuggle Gelv back into the city, which they did.
Yes.
And he ended up setting them on the last laugh, which resulted in Chorlinder being killed.
Yes. And Carla and Kalev.
And Kalev lost a finger. Yeah.
Yep.
And also, Tarathiel gave stuffed toys to all of the kids at the orphanage, including a special one for Taram, which included a finger from the Lucky Monkey that Tarathiel has a very detailed drawing of that Farazan did in the hope that Khaldun could use a spell to find it in case he gets taken again.
You said a finger? Or
a statue of a finger from the Lucky Monkey.
Okay.
That got smashed off while we were.
Yep.
Right. We also worked on getting Jackery recalled, which did end up happening, and there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up.
Jackery was the first guard you really encountered. Was it he and the Kelebs or Gelv's? He was the one you talked to that called.
He was the one that we sent to get the sergeant when Gelv's place was attacked by invisible beings.
Yep.
Somewhere in here, we also went to Skies for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is where we
Skies Emporium to get some magic items.
And probably somewhere in here might be when we first went to the Blue Crater Academy, although that might have been earlier because Boxy now lives there. We moved him in at some point.
Pretty sure.
And
I'm pretty sure that Khaldun was he went to there early,
early.
Yeah. Because he was looking for spells, right? He was looking for somewhere that had a bunch of spells, so when he leveled up, he could scribe them. So
somewhere during this arc is when we discovered that Patch had been working for the Last Laugh.
Mm-hmm. It's like a spy,
the groundskeeper at the orphanage, and he was very repentant, but then ultimately was disappeared by the Last Laugh.
Yes, that's also when you realized that somebody had been scrying a whole lot because you discovered the scrying while talking to Patch.
Yeah. I don't have any other useful notes for this.
Well, that's the same book where you went into the cave and you fought the Lich and the giant spider creature. That's all the same book.
Yeah, we didn't find the recipe for the rod at the Lucky Monkey. It had been taken or sent to Triel.
That's right.
Who was and she ended up being under Cauldron
Oh,
in
this
these
is where we get
co-pro.
the
Yeah,
That's where you got the house.
the meta basement.
the
This is
web,
where the meta
the web
basement comes
kittens.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the web kittens.
So this is where the Ebon Triad comes in, because she was the leader of the Hexter tribe, and then there was the Aranthul, and then there was also Vecna.
Yeah.
They're all three
Yeah.
represented there, and they were there. Come to find out, they had been hired by the cage rights to create the cages.
Yeah, we found the remnants of where they had been making cages in those ruins.
Yep.
And then let's see, we found there was a couple of things interesting that we found there. There was a new lich, and we found an undead T-Rex. We found a
skeletal T-Rex. Yep.
Yeah, we found a pit of dismemberment and disappearing. It's got like leeches or something.
Yeah.
The weird psychic spider thing that we had a chat with, and then sent it on its way. Like, go away.
It ran off.
And it was like, all right. It's somewhere in the ceiling of the cavern. I think it's still in the cavern somewhere.
Still in the cavern. Yep.
Yeah, it had been given the recipe for safekeeping, right? I think, because one of the lieutenants of Triel had it, and
the gnomish wizard with his air elemental.
Remember
that you guys just jackhammered. Oh my God, he didn't have a chance. That was gross.
He was in a very small room.
He was in a very small room. Yep.
I think this story was also the when we went to confront the liches the first time that Tarathiel gave his raven token that he'd been clutching throughout the adventure. He handed it off to Gretchen because he didn't want to die with it underground. And later on, that would be revealed to be a sliver of his wife's soul that he had captured when she died.
And Gretchen is the
head of the orphanage.
Of the orphanage, that you guys got really connected with.
Yep.
So you fought the lich and cleaned out the place and took it over as your own. And then next, after getting all that and getting the water, and water's all taken care of, I think this is the riots. But I think before that was the point that you went to the ball, right? And they had, I think this is where you first met Lord Vilantru, and they had the play between Nabthoriton and the founder of the city, whose name is escaping me right now. And you did all that role play. That was a whole episode role playing.
Yep. And what's the name? The Stormblades or something?
Stormblades.
A rivalry with the Stormblades.
Yeah, because they're another adventuring company within Cauldron, but they're an adventuring company that's attached to affluent families. Like, they're the families of Cauldron.
Yep. But we ended up. This is where Lord Vilantru. So the Lord Mayor was clearly losing control of the crowd at the party, and Lord Vilantru ended up stepping in, and not only kind of clearly commanded the room, but also was very supportive of us, which really helped.
Yeah, because I think when Nabthoriton came in, Farazan jumped up, like, scared, and everybody started laughing at him, and he stood up. He's like, "No, I agree. This is a very," and that's where he started backing you guys up and showing his true love of you guys. But
Surabar was the
Surabar, Spare Mace.
Surabar.
That's right. Yep. That guy.
So before we get into the riots, we do have, or maybe it's part of the same thing, but we do have a storyline that I affectionately refer to as Daddy Issues, where we fought an Umber Hulk. This is where I've lost his name again. Mavu ends up being brought into the story because Mavu had been protesting his taxes and ultimately not paying them, and we went to go talk to him, but he was missing, and there were conflicting stories about what had happened to him and where he was, and but I think we got interrupted in dealing with that because what is her name?
Jinya?
No.
The Drow?
Vilantru's offsider. Shensen. No, Shensen's the Drow.
She's the Drow druid.
What is her name? The lady that sent us after the dwarf with the white hair.
Oh, oh God.
I feel like I should know this
Celeste.
for a very specific reason.
Celeste.
Yes. Yeah. So Celeste contacted us here. I think this is when we got in contact with Celeste, and she sent us after a dwarf who had been cursed due to the feud between him and his son.
Right.
Is that all right?
Splinter Shield.
Splinter Shield.
And the only person that knew how to find him was King Jared of Astoria.
Welcome to Crazy Jared's Used Horses.
Hello.
It's Davkid.
Devkid. Yep.
Is the name of the guy. We took some NPCs, which we've now stopped doing because it's silly.
It's a lot of work.
Doesn't really add much to the story. But yeah, we went to go see Jared of Andoria, who is either a crazy old man or an incredibly powerful wizard, or both. Why not?
I think he's a bard.
He's a bard because he was giving you bardic inspiration during the fight with a red dragon.
Gottrod?
Yeah.
Gottrod.
Yeah, Guttrod was looking for Dorlat, their brother, I think.
No,
Guttrod is
Gottrod's red, Dorlat is black dragon. So it was basically an issue of territory.
It's a territory control thing. Yeah. And we ended up being sent to the Temple of Bel Hamatuyim.
Yes. And they worshipped Bloop to Bloop.
Which means black fish or something. Lucky blackness or black fish is what I have.
Lucky blackness. So,
still think the Bloop to Bloop is something you made up in the moment.
It's canon
it's in the
from
book.
like basic D&D.
Yep, that sounds like a Gygaxian name.
Oh yeah, Bloop dual Bloop, Bloop to Bloop. How long it took me to go back? I could say that word just like I had a harder time learning how to say Cyanocobalamin than I did Bloop to Bloop. B12.
Was there anything good to talk about here? I remember we had the Gripply boat person that took us across to the temple that Rathiel ended up connecting with psychically, and he was in our heads the whole time while we were fighting in the temple.
Yeah, we fought in the temple. We set off some sort of timer, which a portal opened. No, a gate opened up.
A gate opened, and you guys, and we did it round by round. So it was a 2-minute gate. You had 2 minutes before this devil stepped through with a bow and arrow, who I think missed every single. She had 3 shots around.
Yeah.
And she missed
sucked.
every shot for at least 3 rounds in a row. By that time, 3 rounds for PCs, she was dead, which is probably pretty good because if she had hit half of that, some of it would have fallen because her damage was tremendous.
Yeah, she was very nasty.
Yeah, it was multiple D8s and with
fire,
poison, and
the damage from the bow. Yeah,
and we've got that bow. I think Tarathiel has that bow because
somebody does. Yeah.
I have for session 80. I have one note. It says he flees and Khaldun polymorphs him into a turtle.
Yes.
That was so after we defeated.
That was the fight with Zenith, Splinter Shield, right?
Zenith. Yeah, we went back and found Zenith, who was something was going on with his mind. Like he'd have been
Taka for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. Talking about the smoking eye.
Yeah, he's talking about the smoking
eye was watching you, and that was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, that one. Was
and then you beat him, and he kind of went catatonic or something. No. You turned him into. He finally got turned into a turtle.
Yeah,
and you wrapped him in a blanket, summoned an owl who flew him up to the top of a cavern and dropped him. And then he falls, taking enough damage to flip him back into dwarven form and knock him out inside of this blanket burrito. It was insane.
Yeah,
but you had
at some point he said, "I would have sworn I was a prophet. I knew the future. I knew you."
Yeah, and so you shattered his beliefs by the prophecy not coming true, by what he thought. And he had names for you all. He had different names rather than basically like your prophetic name, like the father, the traitor, the son,
Mm-hmm.
and the sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we spent a little bit of time trying to figure out who was who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody got the traitor right off. Like Heath was like, "Oh, I'm the traitor." He was right.
That's
But
up, guys. I'm the traitor.
unbeknownst to us, that's where we
Yeah, we
where
picked up a tail.
Yeah, we picked up a tail. And
And there we have
Spetro.
Metro.
Did we ever just establish why he was down there?
So
Yeah,
you get a backstory.
Yeah, we did. So to kind of get into the pre-campaign stuff for Spetro again, even though we kind of touched on a lot of it last episode, he was part of a clan of basically miners who felt a very spiritual connection to a cave system that ended up, unbeknownst to them, being connected to the Underdark. A bunch of drow came up and slaughtered all the clan members that weren't out on a hunting party. And so we descended into the depths, basically with the idea in mind that so long as we were still in the cave, even though we weren't, in that land that we inhabited, we were still in the cave that we believed our key powers were tied to. And so we just started wreaking havoc on drow, spent years down there until there was just two of us left, and then there was just one of us left. And Spetro ended up getting captured, and his captors were incapacitated by some kind of psychic blast that you guys initiated.
Forgot about that. You set that off. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then after that, he kind of found his way into signs of y'all's trail and found his way to Cauldron. Kind of kept his eye on you for a little while before making himself known. And of course, he did so right after you guys had a conversation with the drow because, he had spent...
Why not?
Yeah. The last several years of his life killing those, that kind of creature beneath or in the Underdark. And then he just kind of got pulled along into the riot control shenanigans through Jackery, and it's been the rest is still unfolding. But that was Spetro's big introduction was the riot stuff,
and he was really, really well suited for doing that sort of thing because he's super mobile.
Yeah, and he can fly.
And I could see the invisible thing. Apparently, you guys had some trouble with things you couldn't see. And I had a character that, and again, I rolled. I had the concept of my character before I really started trying to catch back up on y'all's backlog. But yeah, because you guys were like, last time we fought an invisible thing, it really sucked. And I was like, well, if I can get close enough, then I can mitigate that some.
Especially have what? Dark vision? Not dark vision. Blind sight.
Blind fight.
Blind fight. Yeah.
So blind sight out to 10 feet, and then a dark vision out to 60, I think.
So go ahead.
So I was handling the invisible creature that was assaulting Mavu, while you guys were basically running crowd control. And then when I finished with that, I was doing the Three Stooges stuff to guards.
Yep.
Until that stuff reached its conclusion. We basically had Alma get Mavu the heck out of there, and then we all bailed. Or we ended up going over to... we ended up still getting into a fight, but it was with like other folks, like off to the left, where Tarathiel ended up going after...
Or Last Laugh.
Yeah.
Because you faced the Jester. Remember, he was the one that kind of was tormenting you, trying to draw you in, and you chased him up towards where the riots were starting to happen.
Yeah.
But this is after the Umber Hulk broke through the floor and tore up Mavu's stuff. Which, one thing led to another. You had this riot. But still, every time I think about the riot, all I think about is the great charismatic Alma trying to get and rolling a natural 1 with a -1. So she had a 0. And she's yelling and getting everybody's attention and just falls flat on her face. but then turns around and but that was just hilarious to me.
Yeah, who knew how things might have developed? Maybe Spectro wouldn't have ended up cutting belts and tying shoes together if things had gone differently.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So we ended up chasing off to the left or right. I don't remember which it was.
It was back to the left.
Yeah. Okay. But we were going that way because we saw that that Chasmogen again,
Yeah,
the half
the
troll, half dwarf, half
Dwarf.
troll.
The dwarf and troll.
Yeah, and his maybe hobgoblin lieutenant that was with him, sidekick.
Give you inspiration if you remember his name. I did that last time too.
Nope. No idea.
We all still have inspiration right now anyway, so.
Yeah, that's true. But I do remember that the last laugh was there to kill him if he talked to us. And so we ended up defending him from the last laugh, right? Is that how it worked out?
Tarathiel swooped down on them and was threatening him with that poison dagger to try to get some extra information about his daughter, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that's when the laugh swooped in. Had some epic rooftop battles.
Was this before or after the vignette where Tarathiel talked to Jinya again? Because it was right. It was a vignette after you brought the dwarf back from the place because they were going to do a ritual on him. And I remember this very distinctly.
Yes.
They were going to do a ritual. They'd taken him to the priests of not Obadiah. It's 2 words. Can't think of it right now.
Weejas,
thank you. And they were going to perform this ritual to cleanse the curse.
Mm-hmm.
And you're all out there and you're asking the priest about this. And, Alma specifically asks, give me information about this ritual. And she rolled a 20 or had a total of 25.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, you rolled a 25. You've never heard of this before in your life. And what threw you guys off was Heath immediately said, dang, those Pathfinder DCs. That took you off from the actual fact that she rolled a 25 and she'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
Which means it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
So we were being lied to that they were going to curse it, which ended up that they were actually performing or getting him into the ritual that the cage rights were talking about.
Yeah, what they did was they made off with him.
Yeah, okay. They're getting him. Presumably, they've taken him off to do this ritual because he had this invisible mark on his face that I don't remember at which point we found that. But
well, I just distinctly remember, she rolled that, and I said, "You've never heard of it," and then because I talked to Rachel, she likes to talk about the episodes afterwards, so we text usually every other, and she's like, well, I don't know how. I said, you rolled a 25 and never heard of it. You rolled higher than anybody possibly can, and you'd never heard of it. That means it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I just thought it was just a really high DC. I'm like, no, God, there aren't DCs like that in 5e. And it was just because Heath made that comment. He's like, oh, it's got a Pathfinder DC. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, not at all. So, anyway, quickly find out. But that was a vignette where Tarathiel met Jinya again, and you got a bit more information about your family and the dude. Mike.
Yeah. That didn't come from Jinya. That came from Jill.
Jill, excuse me. Yes, Jill.
Yeah, because Tarathiel was waiting for Davkid and Zenith to come out of the house after we dropped them off, and Jill showed up.
Right.
And talked to him about it, and then they disappeared. Zenith and Davkid had disappeared. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I'm not sure because I was on the phone, so I didn't hear everything that was talked about, but we were all suffering from nightmares, and it turned out that those were somehow connected to Zenith. There was like a half-mile radius he was giving off nightmares to everybody around him.
He was kind of a conduit.
This is not the first time that we'd had nightmares attached to something. There was that happened at the Lucky Monkey as well, around the Lucky Monkey. So something had happened there as well. Mm-hmm. Just in case that does come up again in the future, I'm presuming that's not random, that will be connected to something. But so Jill told Tarathiel or intimated to Tarathiel that the guy that had killed his wife and tried to take his daughter now had his daughter and was also in charge of the last laugh. And I think this is where we figured out that the reason why they take people's pinkies is to scry on them.
Yes.
Which Tarathiel had foiled already by picking up
Yep.
an amulet that prevents him being scried upon.
And through all this, some of it takes some inference, and that's hard to do in a campaign, infer things, because I don't know if I get the information out there. But the last laugh has been used, hired, or coerced somehow to gather all these people for the cage rights.
Yes.
Because they got Tarim. They were the ones that had to do with that. They
and they got Tarim again, right? I think I have in my notes for the third
gone.
vignette in session 83, Tarim was taken again, and we were not able to scry on him, so we
Right.
can't find him.
Yeah, not on
So
this plane of
Tarim-
existence, I think.
Correct. So Tarim had the mark. Zenith had the mark. And I want to say I kind of told you your daughter had the mark.
I don't think it's been explicitly stated, but I think
Okay.
it could be easily inferred that
Yeah.
might be why this person was after Tarathiel's daughter in the first place.
I was one there. I remember now that you said that at some point thinking, I wonder if she's got the mark on her.
Which also, you found some notes at one point that had a list of people that disappeared in the past. We didn't really go into it, but it was during the kidnapping, with the kids being kidnapped. So it was early on in the campaign. So, which sucks because you would have no idea. You don't even know what a cage ride is. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, these adventures take a left toward. But they've been searching for these marked people for decades. So it makes sense that, even 20 years ago, they took your daughter because they saw the mark. Or 15, 16 years ago. So, yeah, it's taken them decades to find all the right people.
And I'm not sure if we skipped over it some along the way, but we did have a flash to Fezan's tribe at a certain point.
We did.
As well, right?
We did. And that's when...
Jamie, do you want to talk about that? Or Matt, do you want to talk about that? Because
I don't want to talk about it, because it's
for Fezan's family.
Yeah, which he still has no idea about, I think.
Right.
At this
point.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but I think...
settle it at home.
Yeah, the vignette...
And then not get a response for several years, and then worry about it.
Yeah, he's a goodly distance from home, but I think it was in one of the vignettes we saw. Did another portal open up in the village, Matt? Is that
a gate opened.
A gate opened, and then out walks these, I guess, just demons, right? I mean,
well, there's one guy, but he had a horde of demons with him. Yep.
And then I think there was some sort of implied that they were negotiating with his father, but then when you walk back, when the camera walked back out of the where everyone had been gathered, I think they were all killed at that point, right?
Well, they were lined up.
Yeah.
And the guy that was in the full plate, who introduced himself as Zale-Keth, went down and looked eye to eye in every single one of these Goliaths in your tribe, and finally, muttered, "Oh, I found him," and turned him and had him possessed by a demon, and then told that demon to go find you and find the witch, find the child, find the witch, and he sprouted wings and took off. Right. And this Goliath, who had been possessed by this demon, had heavy ridges across his face and under his eyes, and had knees that were backwards. He was very distinct in his look.
I wonder if we'll ever see him again.
I think
anyway.
Yes. What?
So that's I didn't realize this, but that's who we encountered.
You've already killed him.
Yeah, post-riots.
He was the one that was possessed by the Blue Duke.
Yeah, and so I don't remember. So after the riots, we found out that the Cauldron Guardsmen, half-orc guardsmen, were headed to Red Gorge, and they were being. So we found out that they were being led.
That's the next step.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Being led by the Blue Duke.
Yep.
And so just now, we find out that person who was the Blue Duke, quote unquote Blue Duke, is from his tribe. But I didn't. I don't know if that was something that I knew.
Well,
I knew that he was a Goliath, but
I kept on emphasizing the ridges because I remember I said that in the vignette.
okay.
That like when he
It's probably a
transformed,
good
like the
year
ridges.
before, though. That's the thing. Like,
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. It was a long time ago. So I was trying to like really emphasize on describing like it is a Goliath, but it looks like he's been possessed. He's got these heavy ridges, and his legs are, dog-legged, that kind of thing. But yeah, that was so, and that's another thing. I think I had you do like a wisdom or intelligence check, and you like crapped it
Yeah.
and rolled like a 1 because it was basically to even through the ridges and stuff to recognize the face of this fellow tribesman. So that's actually what I was going to bring up today. If we, whenever we get going again, is to show that now because of that, this Blue Duke is hundreds of years old. You did research on him. You found him in books that were 50, 60, 70 years old. Well, this Goliath is from your tribe, and he's probably 30.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's clear at this point that the Blue Duke is not the body. It's whatever is in the amulet that is controlling whatever body it happens to be in, because it is now in our friend Ferzan.
It's kind of like Deep Space Nine, the Trilobids or whatever that take over a body, but it's always the Blue Duke.
The Dax.
And it's not quite a takeover. It's a it seems to be a truly symbiotic relationship in that Ferzan fully believes he's the Blue Duke, but he's still Ferzan.
Right.
And we're really not sure what to do about that at this point.
We haven't really had much of a chance.
But that is
like we played once since then, so
yeah.
And
that is kind of jumping ahead, right? Because we also had
we skipped
when we made it to Red Gorge.
Yeah, we had to go to we had to go down the river and then go through the portal. And
when we were searching for
what's his name,
Alec
Turcival, who was going in search of what was he going after? We had the
tablet.
We had the hegemonic plate.
Yeah,
a hegemonic iPad.
Yep.
And it led us to it led us to where he was missing. So we were looking for him because he had challenged Skellerang to become captain of the guards.
Yes.
And so we were trying to retrieve him so that we could undo some of the corruption.
Right. And, he sent the challenge, and then the day came, and he didn't show up.
Yeah.
So then
that's
you're
when
like,
Jinya started freaking out.
Yes. And she's like, well, he was in Red Gorge. He's down there with them, and you kind of hooked up with Mavu, and Mavu joined you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Went down to Red Gorge.
The guard was going going down there.
Yep.
For police action.
Police action. Yeah. And the funny thing, and I tried to make this apparent, was, Alma is sitting here talking to Bayori every morning and getting some answers. And one day she had an answer that was like, they're leaving in 3 days or 2 days. And then you guys did some stuff, and then she checked again, and it was extended to 7 days.
Yeah.
So, like every time, it's like when you look at the future changes, kind of thing. So she was asking, and then you guys keep adventuring and doing things, and then she asks again, like, well, now it's been delayed. Something's the inference is something has happened. You delayed the leaving.
Yeah. And at one point, we've got word that the mayor died, or Volantru died.
You were already in Red Gorge. I think you had just killed Nabthoriton when Jinya sent a message to Alma. And I think it was during the fight at the castle, or at the. It was
during the fight
during Red Gorge walls.
We didn't kill Nabthoriton. He got away.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
true. He escaped.
Yeah. But we did lose. We did lose Alec at that point.
Yeah, Alec did die, and Alec chose not to be resurrected.
Yeah.
And then later, later through speaking with the dead and some more divining, found out he decided to stay where he was
because he felt like he could do more over them.
He was doing a lot. Yeah, he was doing a lot more, being more effective in finding out information, which he started to divulge. And I'll go ahead and tell you a little behind the behind behind the curtain. I skipped a book, and him staying there is getting the information and doing the things that you would have done in this book, because the good book was garbage. I had no idea how I was going to do it. Some of the ideas, I mean, it was just this random thing. And I just kept on thinking, God, this is, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then I finally thought of, all right, he dies, he's over there, and now he can do it. So anyway, yeah. So that was the reason he stayed where he was, is because I wanted to skip a book.
I know on the way to trying to find him, we encountered Nadrama, the Big Deva energy. Who told us to seek Alakast in the lair of her false sisters beyond the eyes of the north. And
fought some giants.
But we never found it.
Yeah, Alakast was the staff that was given to Surabar to help defeat Nebthoriton.
And the false sisters were the three hags that have fought alongside Nebthoriton. Yep. But you skipped like their entire lair and went straight on to the portal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we were in there, and they were.
To be fair, they let us. They were like, "Yeah, sure, you can walk on through."
Yeah, and I mean, you guys were trying to avoid a fight, which I'm always for that. But had you killed them, they wouldn't have been in the fight with Nebthoriton. It would have been a lot easier. But hindsight's.
So, when Nebthoriton showed up, he said, "I have the 13 cages. I have the 13 cage rights. I will set the ritual in motion. You have messed with my plans for the last time. Adamarcus will walk this plane again."
Yes. So Nebthoriton is somehow related to the cage rights. And, a little back history on Nebthoriton, like, he's a Glabrazu, right? Like this type 3 or 4 demon.
Treachery demon.
And there is no real reason why he's stuck on this plane. But he is. He's been on this plane without the ability to go back to the Abyss for 500 years when he fought Surabar. So whatever Surabar did, it locked him to the material plane. And so knowing his back history, and them opening a permanent gate to another plane would get him away from this plane. So Nebthoriton assisting them meets his own ends. So that's kind of the connection with him. And now he's like, yeah, I'm going to get the portal to Adamarcus open. And sure, he's coming here. Well, I don't care, but I'm going through the same portal. I'm getting off this fucking planet.
Right. So he's making a hole, but he wants to go the other way.
Right. And I guess he's guessing if you're on Carcerai, it's easier to get to where I want to go. But Carcerai is the prism plane. Like, it's hard. It's almost impossible to leave Carcerai without the keys and all the planescape stuff. But
without tracking down 13 mortals, building cages for them, and simple stuff.
Takes a bit. Special people born with the mark. It's not just any 13 people. They have to be.
It's not just 13 randoms. Yeah, you gotta do it properly.
Yeah.
So after we fought Nebthoriton, a portal opened up. I think we spent the night and tried to. That's where we tried to resurrect
Percival.
Discovered that he wasn't interested in coming back. We ended up going through the portal back into Red Gorge.
That pissed Rachel off.
Going back through the portal?
Or trying to resurrect him and him saying
when
no.
Alex said no, she was like, fine, just stay dead. And she texted me afterwards like, why didn't he? I'm like, it'll come out. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, there's reasons for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went back to a Red Gorge, which was already under siege. So it was surrounded by half-orcs, commanded by the Blue Duke. They'd set up catapults outside the city, and the civilians were preparing to leave the town, whilst the combatants in the town, who we had pre-warned, were shoring up the defenses and getting ready for them to come in. I think this is the point where we split the party, right? So Tarathiel and Spectra went out to try and take out the catapults, while Fezan tried to get the attention of the Blue Duke with Alma's help. And chaos ensued. I think that may actually be hang on. What is the entirety of my notes for session 101? Combat continues, mayhem ensues, the portal remains open. That's it. Those are the 3 notes that I have for that episode.
And that was actually the episode that I was going to try to get Heath to come back, but he was traveling for work.
Yeah.
To have Khaldun join you guys, and so instead I had him show up before you guys did, and he culled half their numbers with fireballs, and they told you, and he's like, "I'm out. I'm getting out of here. I'm not sticking around. Gonna go do some more research." So they go pet Boxy.
But, so Drathiel and Spectro do end up going down, taking out the catapults, or at least taking out the half-orcs that are controlling the catapults. Fezan and Alma both end up jumping off the wall in an absolutely crazy moment and facing down just hordes of half-orcs and working their way through to the Blue Duke. Spectro manages to keep the Blue Duke occupied for quite some time. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Only because only because I kept failing to remember that when I take damage, I need to roll concentration check on my darkness.
And it was just some masterful combat control from Alma and Fezan and Spectro and Tarathiel as we managed to disassemble the army basically facing us. And ultimately Fezan is able to kill the Blue Duke, right?
That fight took that battle, that siege took 3 episodes.
It was 3 or 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah, to finish it up.
It was pretty long.
Siege
of
Red Gorge.
That brings us almost up to date. So we ended up winning. We did not kill all the half-orcs, importantly. A bunch of them ended up surrendering and now are helping to clean up the mess that they made. But importantly, the Blue Duke had a blue stone around his neck.
He had
which Fezan ended up picking up and just putting it on. And
because
now he refers to himself as the Blue Duke.
Let me go back, because there was I think at this point, Fezan went over to the now dead Blue Duke, and I'd already rolled, and I took a picture of it, but I'd already rolled that you had failed your charisma saving throw against this thing. And Jamie says Fezan walks over and does something, grabs him by the leg or whatever. And I said, Fezan walks over, grabs him by the shoulder, and drags him over. Because as you're dragging him by the shoulder, you're getting the necklace off his neck. But that was the part you didn't know about. And so you get him, and immediately you just bloop. And then you get this voice, this high pitched, snivelly voice. And he's like, look, you're smart and you're big. I like this one. And then you announce that we're the Blue Duke.
Yep.
And now you're just trying to figure out what the hell does this mean. So
the others are concerned but not willing to confront Fezan about it because he could pulverize any of us with his pinky.
Right.
And me and Tarathiel had a heart-to-heart in the woods.
Oh yeah.
That was fantastic.
Great. That was really good.
Which is where we revealed a ton of backstory, and Alma had a couple of key conversations, one with the dead Blue Duke, where she got to ask him 5 questions, and one with Alec Percival, and she got to ask him some questions as well.
And she was going to talk to Baori, but I don't think we got to that part.
No, I think we said we'd leave that for the next. So the portal that was open from where we fought Nabthoriton is still open to the best of our knowledge.
It is still open.
But it's also on the other side of what appears to be a one-way portal. So we're assuming it goes back to where we left from. It seems to go back to a place that we can't actually get back to where we suspect Alakast is.
Right. In order to get to Alakast, you'd have to take up the river, through the jungle, down through there. You have to take the long way, the hard way.
Yeah.
Because we determined that even if we went through the portal, we would have to go through the mirror again to get back to the throne room, which was one room removed from where we think that the staff was.
Right.
And we couldn't get. We already know we couldn't get back through that.
Couldn't go back through because Alec tried it for weeks.
Yeah, but he's dumb. So we could probably figure it
out. Yep.
I'm pretty sure Fezan went and tried it a couple times too. So
yeah, you did.
And it was just before the Blue Duke, before Fezan took out the Blue Duke, that Alma got the message from Genia saying that the Lord Mayor is dead. And I think that's the only information we got out of that. It was just the Lord Mayor is dead.
Yeah, and so
But we were
'Cause, you know-
mid-combat, so it's not like
Right.
Alma
What
was
we can
going
do
to
about it?
talk a
Um,
lot about it.
So, like, again, you guys are level 11. You leveled up after killing because you guys don't rest very often, which I'm not complaining. Like, you're not the kind of party that's like, let's do a long rest every chance we get. Like, you don't do that.
Mhm.
You play through. So that's fine. But you hit level 10 right before fighting Nebthoriton, and then you defeated 3 hags, Nebthoriton, and an army. And then you went up to level 11. Like, it just happened that way. And you
Yeah.
did not rest. You did not rest between the fight with Nebthoriton and the fight with 90 half-orcs and a Goliath-possessed demon Blue Duke. And you still won. So, that's like hard mode. So it's 1.5 times the XP. Anyway, the basics, the again, behind the curtain a little bit, you got to be a certain level to got to be so high just to keep playing these books, right? And if I skip a book, you've got to still get leveled up. So that's kind of, you were sped up a little bit, but it was, you earned it. I mean, you earned that level. So actually, I'll be completely honest, you're a level behind where you should be for this book. So
good.
Yeah.
I have for episode 101, my notes include 2 sentences. Alma cast Dispel Magic. Period.
Uh-huh.
Second sentence. Farazan is hasted with about 7 exclamation points, and I still forgot. Because it was the most amazing thing in the world for Farazan to be hasted, because he got extra AC and he could hit more things with his stick.
Dex save, movement, extra attack, better AC. Like, haste is that. It's not a 3rd edition haste, which was, let's be fair, OP
broken.
as hell.
Yeah, broken.
But still an amazing one-person buff, like, especially for a fighter or somebody that's,
I love, like, as time has gone on, my notes have just got more and more terse. So, like, the most recent set of notes I've got before the vignette episode that we did is, we get messed up. The Lord Mayor is dead. Genya tells Alma. Farazan goes massive and kills the Blue Duke. Tarathiel takes the sliver of the Blue Duke's soul. Spectro takes out a catapult. Alma blends the battlefield with Spirit Guardians.
And she had to cast it
That's
twice because she failed.
That's the entirety of my notes for the episode.
Well, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So after the fight, you got back into Red Gorge talking to the members of the Chisel. And they were talking about reconstructing and using these living half-orcs to hire them, because they were hired to work as guards. Now they're being, like, they're fine, And nobody got any kind of wonky vibe, because you guys, like, half the party is, their intuition is, like, passive through the roof. So, yeah, you got no bad vibes from these half-orcs. They're just trying to make it, right? They're just trying to get paid, and they don't want to die. So they stick around, and that's kind of where we, and Alma's doing her divine inspiration and talking, and, like, I mean, she is a divining rod. Like, all the spells she can cast and be able to talk to Baori, and then she has a chance, like, once a day to try to get divine intervention, which is 11%. That's not nothing. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I have hopes for that spell being cast and going off at the perfect time. I just imagine, you're doing something terrible, and then she's like, "I'm gonna get divine intervention." And you, like, roll an 11 or roll a 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's my hope.
1.
Yeah. Wow, that's a.
I got a meeting in 8.5 minutes. So
I was about to say that was an hour and about 15-minute recap.
So sustained. I'm sure everybody's listened to this all the way to the end. Well done. Subscribe to the YouTube.
Right now, you guys are in Red Gorge. I mean, we got 10 minutes.
Mike doesn't.
Less.
Do you want us to stop now?
Not quite. All right. Do what you're going to do. We're
Mike,
wasting time.
Okay. You're in Red Gorge. You have established that the half-orcs are being hired. They have plans on reconstruction. Genya has been keeping in contact at least one way, and sometimes Alma's been contacting her back, saying, just at least responding. You have found out through Genya's sending that the Lord Mayor has died. No details.
Mm-hmm.
The city is under martial law. No details.
Mm-hmm.
But the martial law you heard came first. And then second, you heard, it was like the next day you heard that the Lord Mayor was dead. And that's kind of where you are right now. So you've tidied things up. You cleaned up at Red Gorge. You know, shit's going down at Cauldron. What's the plan? What's next?
I don't know.
And also,
So,
you mentioned wanting Alicast. Like, it would take you maybe 5 or 6 days to do that. But
I know that's my concern, is that I'm worried that we need Alicast, but we don't have the time to go and get it because we missed it the first time around. I mean, in theory, it's still there. So if we leave it there, we know where it is to come back to.
Right.
Yeah. It would take 3 days.
I don't know how long it will stay there. That's anything.
Let's see. It took pretty much a day to go upriver. It took 2 days to get through the jungle, but it took a little bit longer because you're having to fight your way through the jungle. And, you know, you checked out this cave that had this gigantic, enormous, freaking and large beast that you just said, nope, you sleep, dude. And you kept going. And then you had to fight your way through all these giants in the causeway. And, you know, the hags are dead. So legitimately, you could probably make it back, like, you know, I mean, like double time it, like pushing it in 3 days.
Hmm.
And so you could
I think
go.
There's still a Knoll bastard out there somewhere, I think. I don't remember if we killed him.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the river.
If they ran off.
And we still have to get back to Cauldron from Red Gorge. That was a travel of a couple of days, I think.
Yeah. But maybe that's doable, but I'm very concerned that the cage rights seem to have all of the pieces. So now we're on a clock.
Right.
Because whatever they're going to do, they've started doing it.
The only thing is you don't know the time on that clock.
We don't know the time on the clock, and we don't even really know where they are, other than, I mean, from my perspective, I think the last laugh seems to be the best connection that we have. So
they're very connected for sure.
But it also feels like we're going back into a very volatile situation. So it's really unclear. Like, we'll go back to Jenya and find out what the deal is. She may have, here's 3 other things that desperately need looking into.
Right.
I'm guessing that whoever is taking over for the mayor, that's, you know, like if the mayor's now dead, then whoever's now running the city is going to be, you know, going to get my squinty eye. You know, like,
right. Yeah.
So
how convenient.
Yeah.
There is one likely candidate, right?
Yeah, and that worries me because this is the person that's been backing us.
Yeah,
Valantru.
He's already taken over from the mayor in front of us.
Yeah.
He seems to be well liked. He seems to be able to control the nobility fairly well. It is, I don't know, it's a great situation to walk into if you're a new leader, to come in and say, everybody hates the leadership because of what they've just been doing. And then a highly charismatic person comes in and takes over and is like, oh yeah, I'll totally lower the taxes.
Yep.
And everybody's happy and they love that guy. Like, the whole thing is either incredibly convenient or incredibly suspicious.
Do we know how long Valantru's been in town?
You don't. You've never really brought it up, right? So,
yep.
I mean, you've been in town for 3 years. Did y'all know that? You came to Cauldron like a little less than 3 years ago.
Oh, I thought it was like 1.5 years at this point, but
it's been, because you took some serious, like, months and months and months of downtime.
Big downtime.
Yeah. So it's been quite a bit of time.
So I also have in my notes that I wanted to check in on Celeste, because I think when we came back with Zenith and Zenith's dad, whose name I can't remember, she was out dealing with some family business. And so Tarathiel had intended to chase up on that and make sure that she was okay, because she seemed like a nice person.
Yep.
But that was right about the time when he found out about his daughter and then all the riots and stuff. So that all got sidetracked. But Tarathiel's still concerned that something may have happened with her that she needs help with. So that gives us an in there, maybe.
We got leads. We got things to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Circle up the wagons with Alma and have her ask God. He'll tell us. She'll tell us.
She'll tell us.
They'll tell us.
All right. Well, that is just shy of 2 hours, so nice little way to recap, kind of get everybody back up to speed before we set off in the second half. And honestly, the second half of this book, the series, will not take 3 years. Like, I foresee
Good.
these next several books going really, really quick. Really quick.
Excellent.
And I'm ready to play. So what do
Yeah.
y'all gotta figure out what you're gonna do and running the game next, right?
Yep.
Has anyone seen the new Batman?
Thanks for never mind.
Yep.
See you guys.
Thanks for watching this after the fact.
Yeah, right. All right. Next week. It's not till February the 18th, but I do have to work that Monday, as of right now. So that's for sure. But I should be good for the next 3 more weeks, and we should we'll get going and see what the hell's going on and save the world.
I'll be house sitting, so my background will be still blurry, but a different blur.
All right. Cool. See you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night.